Lesson, we're going to be talking about another way of factoring these polynomials. And basically what will be happening here is we're just going to be organizing our information in a very similar way to what we did with the box method when we were using FOIL. So the first thing you're going to want to do using this method is to draw your box. And you're going to draw it with 4 squares. The first square is always going to have your first term. And then your bottom right square will always have your last term. And then what we need to do is figure out what goes in these remaining 2 squares. The way we do that is by finding factors of 44, or our last term, that will add up to be this middle term. So just like in the last one, we said you always had to multiply to equal C, and you had to add to equal B. Same thing. We want to find 2 things that multiply to be our last number, but add together to be our middle number. So I'm just going to list my factors of 44. And when I do that, I need 2 of these that add together that equal 15. So these 2 added together equal 45, these 2 added together equal 24, and these 2 added together equal 15. So this is what I want to use in these 2 boxes. But I'm not going to write 4 and 11 because I need things that would equal 15p when I added them together. So it's going to be 4p and 11p. I basically just take the factors of 44 and put them in, but then also add the p as well. Once you get your box filled in, it becomes relatively easy to figure out what your 2 binomials are. The way you do that is you factor out across. So I'll get p squared and 11p. I look at what I can factor out. And this is kind of like what we did when we were working with distributive property to factor. So p squared and 11p, they each have a p I can take out. 4p and 44, well, I can take out a positive 4 from each of those. And then we factor up as well. P squared and 4p, I can take a p out of both of those. 11p and 44, I can take out a positive 11 from each of those. And notice, this is exactly around the outside what we started with when we were using the box method before. So now we're just working backwards. We already have the box filled in, and we need to think about what we would have had to have on the outside to give us what we had in the middle. And we do that by factoring these things out. So then our answer to this polynomial would just be p plus 11, p plus 4. And the order of these 2 things doesn't matter. So this is just another way to factor trinomials. It's just a different method. And some of you may prefer doing this. Some of you may prefer what we did in the previous lesson. It's entirely up to you. But understand that this is how you would organize the box method. And this will actually be very helpful to organize it this way once we get to more complicated trinomials.